Well, hello there. It's Christmas Eve. It's not even like Christmas Eve Eve. It's actually Christmas Eve. I hope you're all as excited as what I am. I can hardly contain my excitement. But that being said, we need to get straight into the meat and potatoes because I know you're going to be busy today. So we know there's footage coming out all over the place, left, right, and centre, like playing dodgeball with camera footage in this Idaho student tragedy. But, and I did touch on this in the live, but I know some of you just can't stomach the long video. So I thought I'd touch on a very important part of that live and put it into a tiny little present, because sometimes big things come in small packages. Don't forget that. So as all this footage is coming out, showing that this was in fact the party house. I said about this before, and people kind of ran me through for that. You can't say that. Well, I did, and it turns out I was right. So this was a bit of a party house, the place to go, the place to be. But something else came out, not just that footage, and it was this person. They came out and said something quite interesting. And I think, and we're going to have a quick chat about it. So this is a person who lived in this property before. And if I can find this person's name, let's have a look. They're saying, friggin' hell, he should have been a bit more on the ball with this. Maybe this isn't even it. Maybe this literally isn't even it. No, here it is. You can't walk up any of the stairs or on any of the floors without anybody in the house knowing it, Cole Alteneda said. Now, this is a person who lived in this house, recently graduated in 2022, so familiar with the house. And this person goes on to say, look, the noise carried through this house. You couldn't go anywhere in this house without the noise echoing throughout the house. Which that kind of raises some questions to me. And it is about the surviving roommates. And I know there's going to be people who say, leave them alone, leave them alone. And look, I'm not saying that the surviving roommates did anything. What I'm saying is that I think that they, at the very least, they heard something. Maybe that fight or flight. I said in this live, I said, you're either a fighter, you're either a runner, or you're a hider. If you can fight, you'll fight. If you're quick, you'll run. And if you can't run, you'll hide. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, you have the right to protect yourself. But if they heard anything, then they perhaps weren't asleep for as long as what we had been led to believe. Which means they could lie about things. They could keep things secret. They could hide things that could be helpful. Or there could be something else. And I know it's a difficult one to discuss, and not everyone's going to like it, and, you know, it's going to leave a sour taste in some people's mouths. But at the end of the day, we're no further forward. We're no further forward here. And we've got a situation where these 4 students were either killed by a complete and utter stranger, and we'll come back to that in a second, but a complete and utter stranger who just happened on happenstance to get into a house and do what they did and get away scot-free, without being seen, heard, apparently, and away, poof, like a fart in the wind. Or they were killed by someone in their immediate circle. Someone who was there, who was with them all, who is part of that social dynamic that they are a part of, or were a part of. And it brings me to a third option. That is someone who used to be in their circle and is perhaps Not in it anymore. And there's a guy, this Brett guy, he's ex FBI, and let's have a look at what he says. We're going to go back over here. And this guy here, Brad Garrett, he's I don't know whether he's ex-FBI or actual. No, he's former FBI agent. On Monday, the killer or killers may have been familiar with the layout of the house. It tells me that someone came into the house with a comfort level, and they probably knew their way around the house. Now, he goes on chatting about different bits and pieces, but he finishes with this. Garrett said investigators should be broadening their search outside the victim's immediate circle of friends and family. You're going to have to start spreading out to people they had just a casual relationship with, he said. And what does that mean? That means that it could be someone who perhaps weren't an immediate friend, but it was someone who had some form of, and it doesn't mean that sort of relationship, do you know what I mean? It could be like someone who used to be a friend they fell out with, someone who'd come into this property and, you know, not their immediate friend circle. But this kind of crime done in this kind of manner, I don't think gives you that many options. You know, the strangest situation just seems to be going further and further and further away, because you are looking at someone who is seemingly familiar with the property, someone who seemingly had a problem with at least one of the girls upstairs. Because I still think, and I could be wrong. This is all speculation. But I still think that the order with which things happen were top, middle, and out. So, you know, it would appear that someone was a target. And look, it could have just been the house. It could have just been happenstance and it was some stranger. But I don't think so. I don't know what you guys are thinking. But did the surviving roommates hear anything? Would it be too far out of the realms of possibility that they went into fight or flight, they decided that they would wait, open the door, and let someone else find what happened? To say they was asleep, to use that alibi that I was sleeping, I know nothing, and the first that they saw it is when everybody saw it, the people who came in and found it, and did they just run out of time? Nobody came in, despite the door being open, so it was just a case of, look, we're going to have to deal with it, and we need to bring attention to people, so people are quickly brought over, and that just makes sense to me. There's just something that resonates a viable story. Doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean that they were involved in anything. That's for you to decide. It's for you to ponder over and think about. But for now, let's just say, still a lot to happen. There's still a lot that should be questioned. And being asleep or saying you're asleep shouldn't be enough to turn the eyes away from you. But for now, I'm done. I'll catch you all in the next one.